I'm here with Belal Muhammad, who takes on Sean Brady this Saturday at UFC 280. Belal, how are you?
Good. How you doing? Happy to see you. Happy to see normal faces now. I've been down here for 5 weeks, and now to see a familiar face starts making me happy.
We gotta zoom in on those Crocs. I was telling you off camera. Got a nice basketball. Got a nice basketball in there.
Yeah, I got to keep the Crocs out here. I was like, man, I wonder if the people are gonna make it fun of me out here. But I'm seeing people out here with Kendoras on, with the Crocs on. I was like, all right, we got it out here. And then when we visited the Children's Hospital, one of the kids had Crocs on, so it was amazing to see that. I was like, hey, me too. So it was cool.
A lot of people didn't know about the whole custom-made Crocs. I gotta admit, I didn't until you started wearing them, and I started telling people it's a thing now.
Yeah, you could make a designer or anything nowadays. I get DMs from people like, oh, look at these ones, look at the Gucci ones, this, and this. So it's crazy what people do nowadays. So remember who started it.
Get them sponsorship, right? Have you gotten a chance to play any Dagestani basketball?
Oh my God, yeah, it's crazy. It's been fun. At first I was like, man, I think I'm gonna get hurt, but a lot of people don't understand. Like, they're very good at just doing just enough. I went for like a layup. I'm thinking I had a wide open layup. All of a sudden I get grabbed down. I was like, oh crap. But it was all fun. Luckily nobody got hurt doing that. And we played probably like 6 or 7 games since we've been here. So at the end I started getting better with it than in the beginning. But when I started learning more about it, I was like, oh, I could do this trick or that trick. But it was cool.
So what are the rules? You just no travel calls, I guess?
There's no travel. You could wrestle. Once you have the ball, it's basically like rugby with basketball. You just got to hope that, there's a lot of cutting, a lot of good passing, and then if you get an open lane, you got to shoot it, because if you go for a layup, you're going to get taken down.
How's Khabib's game, Islam's game? Who's the best?
Oh, Islam is probably the best out of their group, but their competitiveness is another level. Khabib is a footballer, soccer player. They last time they were playing soccer, they were like, hey, do you know how to play football? And I'm like, oh yeah, I play football all the time. And they're like, no, soccer. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I never played, but I know how to kick a ball and run. And they take it so serious. Like, my team was down. I was on Khabib's team the first game, and we were down like 4-1. And he's like snapping at me, do something. I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying. He's like snapping at me. And then the second half, he went off. He scored like 5 goals that half, and we ended up winning, coming back to win. And I realized, man, Khabib is a monster. Like, and his competitiveness is different. Like, he's so good, and he wants to win everything. I don't care if it's ping pong. I don't care if it's Dagestani basketball. I don't care if it's soccer. He wants to win at everything. If we're playing paper, scissors, rock, he's playing to win.
Still undefeated.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Like, I know you've trained with them before, but it seems like you've been fully part of this training camp now.
Yeah, honestly, meeting them, we both had the same manager, Ali Abdulaziz. Shout out to Ali. He put us in touch when we were in Vegas. I trained down there with him a little bit. Then when he heard I had this fight, him and Ali were talking. Ali's like, yeah, I want you to go down there and train with him. And I was like, 5 weeks with the team. I don't know yet. Like, I've trained with them, but it's like, you're comfortable with your training partners, you're comfortable with the people around, you're comfortable in the U.S. at your house and things like that. And I was thinking hard about it, and I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know. And he's, brother, trust me, especially for this fight, this camp, it's gonna be amazing. You won't regret it. You have to. And then once my coach Lewis Taylor said he was down to come with me, that like put me on there. I was like, all right, let's go then, let's do it. And it was one of those where, like, I think of Khabib as being the GOAT. I think of him being the greatest to ever do it. And to be able to learn from him and train from him, how can you pass up that opportunity? How can you say no to something like that? So coming down here, getting to train with them, getting to know all these guys, see how much respect they have for me, it was amazing, because they just brought me in like part of the family. And I think that was like the biggest eye-opener, is how nice and cool they were. Because usually when you go to different gyms, there's guys that are like not in the UFC, and they want to embarrass you or hurt you or show you that they're better than you, but there's none of that here. There's a lot of them that were better than me, but they were helping me get better. They were helping me grow from that, not doing it to hurt me, but hey, do it this way, come this way, check this out. And also training with Islam. It's like, people could talk about all the time, like how he's going to be better than Khabib, how good he really is in practice room, how great he is. And, you have the naysayers that, they're just saying that because they're his teammates. But seeing how good he really is, I'm like, wow. And just how humble he is, and showing me a million different things and showing me how to win positions, that was the greatest thing. Because a lot of fans don't get to see the cool side of him, because he's hilarious. He's so funny. And I'm like, bro, bring it out more. He's like, brother, it's all good. And I was like, if people really got to spend a day with him, they'll understand it. He'll be a superstar because he's hilarious. He's so funny. He's so down to earth.
And different, I mean, you're obviously a very strong grappler, but going with those guys, like next level grapplers, what was that feeling like to just kind of be a student in a way?
It was crazy. It was like how they say, Dagestani wrestling is different. And there's guys in that group that aren't in the UFC. People that don't know who they are, but they're amazing fighters, amazing grapplers. And I'm looking at this next younger generation. Tell me, oh, he's 20 years old. And I'm like, I got to hurry up, get this belt, and get out because these guys are murderers. And learning from them, feeling their pressure, especially for this fight, it was like the perfect plan, perfect people. And I'm glad I listened to Ali.
And Khabib will be in your corner. How did that work? Did you ask him? Did he offer? How did that happen?
Yeah, you get comfortable with the people you usually have in your corner. So, but seeing how we train over there, and when we spar, it's different because you're in the cage by yourself. It's like a fight. So you're in the cage with your opponent, and in between rounds, they're cornering you and they're throwing you tips and telling you what to do. And in between rounds, he'll come to your corner, hey, do this, this, and this. And just seeing his knowledge and his view, I'm like, dude, this guy's a genius, and he's good. And it's like some guys can fight and not coach, but he could do both. And I brought it up to him, and he's like, yeah, of course. And then Ali called me. He's like, Khabib said he's going to be in your corner. Like, he just doesn't corner anybody. So that means he has respect for you. He knows how hard you're working, and he knows that what that means. You don't know what that means because he won't just do that for anybody. And I was like, man, that's an amazing thing. And yeah, with Khabib in my corner, I can't lose.
That being said, I'm sure this was a very grapple-heavy camp. Sean Brady's a strong wrestler, but we talked about this before, right? Sometimes when two wrestlers kind of nullify and you guys stand on the feet. So do you think he's going to try to engage you in the grappling? Like, how do you see this fight starting out?
For me, I think that I'm going to dictate where it goes. I think that my last 3 or 4 fights, they've all been different styles. I've had to play defensive grappling with Damian Maia. I've had to play offensive grappling with Wonder Boy. I've had to do both with Luque. So I've shown that I could be a chameleon. I could pick and choose what I want to do. And I think that he hasn't had that. All of his fights, they've been grapple heavy because guys that he's fought allowed him to do that. Once he gets in there with me and he feels me and he realizes, like, dang, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And, he starts panicking. That's when I pick and choose and start picking them apart because a lot of guys, they all underestimate me. I'm still an underdog in this fight. I've been an underdog my last 4 fights. And people just don't understand it until they're in the cage with me, that they realize that, all right, he's number 5 for a reason. He's beat these guys for a reason. It wasn't because of age. It wasn't because of this. It wasn't because of that. I think I had the best IQ in the division. I think I'm the best fighter in the division.
Does part of you wish this was 5 rounds?
Yeah, of course. I would definitely want it to be 5 rounds, especially after that last 5-round fight. But the biggest thing for me was just fighting here. Because, I think it could have been a main event on any fight night card. But I said I wanted to be on this fight night. I wanted to be on this card, biggest card of the year. Be back here in Abu Dhabi just because last time I was here, the energy, the fans, it was amazing. And I was like, I want to come back. I need to come back. And I need to be put on this card.
Just wanted to get your thoughts on UFC 279 with Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz, everything that went down. He ended up fighting Kevin Holland. Just what were your thoughts on him coming in at 178.5? Yeah,
that was crazy. But I think it comes down to, when you're fighting a guy like Nate Diaz, everybody saw it. Like, they saw Khamzat probably going to walk through him. They all saw that it was an easy fight. It was a bad matchup for him. And then if you're Khamzat, how hard are you really working for that fight? That's a fight like, I'm going to get this paycheck. It's going to be an easy fight. I know what I got to do. Pick him up, slam him, bring him down. So it's like he's not going to do the extra running. He's not going to do the extra cardio that a lot of the real fight, if you have a tough fight, oh, man, I got to outwork my opponent. He's not doing none of that stuff because, it's a lack of respect for your opponent, but it's also like, I don't need to, especially when you're undefeated. You've been dominating everybody, and it's not like Nate Diaz is going to bring something new to the table for you that's anything dangerous. Nate's a lot smaller than him. He does bad against bigger grapplers. So I think it was just a respect thing out of there. And, I mean, in general, he's just fat. Like, stop eating fat, stop being fat, stop acting stupid. Get disciplined because now that could have cost you would have probably got a title fight right off of that if you would have won and you would have came out and weight. So now it cost you that opportunity. I mean, the UFC obviously still loves him, so he may still get a title fight or a piece of the company just because of how big his name is right now. But for fighters in general, we look at that like disrespect. When you're coming in that high and you're just laughing and giving a middle finger, that's a joke.
Do you think he sticks around at 170?
I think they'll give him another shot. I don't think that they're going to make a move up. I do think it's easier for him to go up to 185. I think it's an easier path to the title. There's a lot less grapplers up there. I think you go up there right now and really give it to Pereira or Adesanya, and has a good style to beat either one of them. At 170, we've seen him go against grappler. The first real grappler he went against was Gilbert Burns, and it was a tough fight, a hard fight, and I don't think that he wanted another taste of that fight. That's why he's sitting there, didn't take my fight. I know there's talks of him and Kobe, but I don't think really Kobe wants that fight, because if you look at Kobe, who has Kobe really fought that's been tough besides Kamaru? All of his fights have been guys coming off of multiple losses, guys that are Woodley off 4 losses, Masvidal off 2 losses, and they've been favorable matchups for him. So I don't see him taking let me fight a tough guy in Hamzat, because they could say, oh, he's a number 1 contender, he's a champion if Kamaru wasn't there, but who has he beat besides the guys that have been losing? I just beat Luque, who was on a 5-fight winning streak, 7-fight winning streak, and a guy that knocked me out before. That's a different type of style, different type of mindset to go into a fight like that, to take a fight like that, accept a fight like that. I could have sat there and be like, oh, no, I got a broken toe, or I got this, or I got that. But for me, I think I'm the best fighter in the division. I want to fight the best of the best and the guys that they think could beat me.
What do you make of Masvidal kind of pushing for the title shot against Leon Edwards?
I mean, if he gets it, it's a joke, especially coming off of 3 losses in a row. But, you're the UFC. It's about making money. It's about drama, and there's a lot of drama there. But I definitely think that he needs to get another win before that fight, because there's guys out here like me that are on big streaks, guys that have been through the trenches, been winning, been fighting every single person you put in front of me and beating every single person you put in front of me. So I think I've earned it. I deserve it, especially coming out Saturday night and winning this fight. I would definitely deserve it. But if I'm looking at it from the outside perspective, the business perspective, obviously that's a big fight, big money fight, and it's about business and making money. But I think the trilogy is actually a bigger fight than that in general. And I think for me being a fighter, I think Kamaru deserves it next. Regardless, I'll let him take it next, because he's earned it. He's been the champion for so long. And the way that fight was going, he definitely deserves it before anybody else.
Do you think he gets his title back if they run the trilogy?
Yeah, I think that anybody in the division with good wrestling will just do the same game plan to him. I think that he had the perfect game plan. It was dominating the fight, but it's the fight game, and all it takes is one wrong move, one wrong slip, and it could end in a second. But I think he'll just come out this time doing the same thing, push him to the fence, take him down, beat him up. And the way that Leon was breaking in there mentally, putting his head down, it was one of those things where I could tell that he was giving up on himself. And if you need your coaches to wake you up like that, it just tells me you're not ready for that type of style. And a guy like me will give him that same type of fight. A guy like Gilbert will give him that same type of fight. A guy like Kobe will give him that same type of fight. Especially Chimaev will give him that same type of fight. So for him, it's like, all right, if I get the rematch, then I call my shot, let me get Masvidal or something like that, because you do not want to fight another grappler.
So with that being said, with it looking like the trilogy is a plan to beat Sean Brady and get on the mic, because you've been the guy that's fighting everyone, right? Is it time to get on the mic and let him know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you never know how Kamaru's going to come back from that injury. He hasn't started sparring yet. He hasn't started working hard yet. So sometimes you need to take a lot longer layoff, especially because it's about your brain. It's about being healthy. We've seen guys get concussions and never come back. And I think he has a big team around him, a big family around him that really care about him, and they're not really in it for the money. So they're not getting him to rush in. And if you're Leon Edwards, and I know there's a card in London and you need an opponent, I get this win Saturday night. I had the longest winning streak in the division already. It makes sense. We have history already. I want that fight back. I need that fight back, and I definitely need that belt.
All right, on. Well, Belal, appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and best of luck. Thank you.